I'm Matthew Moniz, and this is the iPhone 7 Plus. Now, I've already done a couple of videos on it. I've done one where I talk about it over 48 hours, and I've also done a video comparing it to the Galaxy S7 Edge. So if those sound more interesting to you, I'll place links to them in the description down below. But the reason why I'm doing my review over a month later is because I wanted to take the time to use the phone to make sure nothing pops up that may be of concern. So with that being said, here's my review of the iPhone 7 Plus. So let's start off with the design, and the first thing you're going to notice is that the iPhone 7 Plus looks exactly the same as the 6 Plus and the 6S Plus. Now this is the third year of using the same design, and it's getting pretty stale. I would have loved Apple to at least redesign it a little bit so that the bezels could be a little bit thinner. Every hardware manufacturer, especially Samsung, is really pushing the boundaries of design innovation, and the iPhone is starting to feel a little dated. But Apple has introduced two brand new colors. There's a matte black, which is the phone that I have right here, and there's also a jet black, which is really shiny, feels great in the hand, but from what I hear, scratches very easily. Now, even though the design looks the same, there are in fact quite a bit of changes, and you will notice it as soon as you pick up the phone and start using it. The first one is the one that everybody knows about, and that's the removal of the headphone jack. Thankfully, I haven't been in a situation yet where I've needed one, and that's mostly due to because of the fact that I use Bluetooth headphones for the gym, and when I'm in the car, I also pair my audio through Bluetooth. I definitely know there's going to be a day where I need a headphone jack and I won't have my dongle on me.
My bends to the left.
Also, the phone is now water resistant. It's IP67, which means you can submerge it in up to 1 meter of water for 30 minutes. Now, this doesn't mean you should go ahead and take your phone swimming because you'll most likely break it, but if you drop it in a puddle or even in the toilet, you don't have to worry about your phone breaking on you. Also, because it's IP67, it's completely dust-proof. Next up is the home button. It's no longer a physical button that you push down. What Apple's done is installed a capacitive button on the top and put a Taptic engine underneath that has vibration feedback every time you press on it. Now, it does a good job of mimicking a physical touch. In fact, I've actually given it to a lot of people who are not tech savvy to press on it and let me know their thoughts. The consensus is that they actually think it's a physical home button. Now, you do get used to it after using it for an hour or so, but there is one disadvantage to it. So if your fingers are a little bit wet, it won't register the press, so you just have to make sure your fingers are dry. Also, the benefit to a non-physical home button is that it's less likely to break down. And the last major change is dual stereo speakers. The iPhone now has 2 stereo speakers to produce sound from. On the bottom of the phone, there's 2 speaker grills, but one of them only has a speaker in it. The one on the left is a barometric vent, which is used to measure altitude. The other speaker is actually in the earpiece, which is now a earpiece speaker combo. In terms of sound quality, it sounds much better than having a mono speaker, but it's obviously not as good as having 2 dual front-facing speakers. I think it's the perfect compromise of not putting 2 speakers on the front to increase the bezel size, but still offering a good option for sound quality. The display on the iPhone 7 Plus is still 5.5 inches, it's still 1080p, and it's still an LCD panel. And that's probably one of the reasons why the design of the iPhone didn't really get changed that much. You can't really bend an LCD panel compared to an AMOLED one. The color gamut has been improved by 25%, offering better color reproduction than last year's iPhone 6S Plus. And according to DisplayMate, this is one of the best displays you can get on a smartphone, period. Now, is it better than an AMOLED panel? Well, I think that comes down to personal preference. I personally prefer AMOLED panels because of the vibrancy. You can get really saturated colors that look awesome. The display itself can get significantly brighter, especially outdoors. And on top of all this, it's a lot more efficient, giving you a better battery life. In terms of performance, the iPhone 7 Plus is a complete beast. It's using Apple's new A10 Fusion chip, which is the fastest chip on the market. It completely kills every other phone in terms of benchmarks and overall performance. Now, when you combine this beastly chip with software and hardware that's completely optimized, you're gonna get no stutter, you're gonna get no lag, and you're gonna get one of the most fast and fluid experiences you can get on a smartphone today. Anything I did with the phone when it came to text messaging, browsing the web, and playing games, the iPhone 7 Plus had 0 issues handling it. Also, the latest version to iOS 10 contributes to this experience. There's now more things you can do with 3D Touch. They finally got widgets, something that's been on Android for a very long time. The notification system is a little bit better, not as good as Android, but better, and you can now use 3D Touch for more things that you couldn't do before. The battery life on the iPhone 7 Plus is better than last year. It's now 2900 milliamps, and you're gonna get an extra hour to an hour and a half of use before needing to charge. Now, I went through the entire day, and I'm a heavy user. I do things like podcasts, listen to music, browse, send emails, and watch a lot of YouTube videos, and I usually end the day anywhere from 30 to 40% battery life left before needing to charge. Now, unfortunately, it still doesn't come with wireless charging, and that's because the back of the phone is made out of metal, and it still doesn't have fast charging, which I would have loved to see this year. And last up is the camera. On the back, there's now 2 camera sensors instead of 1. The first one is an improved 12 megapixel sensor with an f1.8 aperture, so you're gonna get better low light photography. And the other one is also 12 megapixels, but it's a telephoto lens, so you can zoom in up to 2 times. There's been so many situations where I just wanted to zoom in a little bit more to get that photo, and that's exactly what the telephoto lens allows me to do. In terms of photo quality, it's definitely in the top 3 best smartphone cameras. A lot of people prefer the S7 Edge better, and now that the Pixel's out, that's something to be tested as well. The bottom line is this: you're gonna get a good camera experience with the iPhone 7 Plus. It tends to lean more towards a more natural look, so you're gonna get more natural greens, more natural imagery, whereas the S7 Edge I found to make photos a little bit more vibrant, so it really comes down to your personal preference. One thing's for sure, Apple always does a fantastic job with the software processing, so even if you think you're gonna take a bad photo, it actually comes out pretty nice most of the time. Alright, so here's my closing thoughts. The iPhone 7 Plus does a good job of bringing new things without changing the design. For one, you're getting a better display. Apple has widened the color gamut by 25%, and according to DisplayMate, it's one of the most accurate displays on a smartphone. You're also getting dual stereo speakers, a first on an iPhone, so you're getting better sound quality. You're getting a great camera experience, and even though some people may not feel this is the best camera on a smartphone, you also get that telephoto lens, which adds another way to take photos and is also just a lot of fun. And you also get one of the fastest experiences you're ever gonna get on a smartphone, because Apple's A10 chip is really fast, and they also optimize their software with their hardware. But there are some downfalls. For one, you end up losing a headphone jack, which may be a big issue for a lot of people, and the design is still the same. The bezels are still quite huge compared to other smartphone manufacturers, making really thin bezels and making more comfortable products to hold. At the end of the day, the iPhone 7 Plus is a fantastic smartphone. Now, if you have an iPhone 6s Plus, it's definitely not worth the upgrade. If you're using an iPhone 5s or an iPhone 6, go out and buy the iPhone 7 Plus. It will be worth it. Now, for those of you who want to save some money, I still think the 6s Plus is a fantastic deal. The gains you get from going from the 6s Plus to the 7 Plus are really not that noticeable. Now, for those of you using Android, specifically Note 7 users, you might be looking at this phone. Whether you want to jump to iOS or not is all about your own personal preference. So what do you guys think of the iPhone 7 Plus? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next video.